Guys, we're live now, so you gotta stop. So at 5:32 on March 1st, 2023, I'm going to call the Municipal Building Commission meeting to order. For the record, Terry DeSisto, Ed Stanton, Jackie Romanicki, Gail Clark, Jerry Freecott, Andrew Acosta, Jay Allard, and myself are here. That constitutes a quorum. We have minutes from February 1st that were distributed. Is that correct, Molly?
Yes.
And we should introduce to the entire world Molly McLean?
Yes.
Who was the assistant to Jeremy Stull.
Yes.
And now is our staff person for the time being.
Nice. Welcome. Thank you.
Everybody read the minutes? Is there a motion?
Move to approve. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, so the first order of business for this evening is that we have an item of potential litigation, and I am going to suggest that we go into executive session. We will be arising after what I hope would be a short executive session. It requires a roll call vote to do that. I'm going to ask the one member of the audience after we've taken the roll call vote if she would kindly let us stay here, because we need to invite our architect and our clerk of the works into it, and the only way we can speak to them is on the screen. So, is there a motion to go into executive session for the purposes of discussing potential litigation?
So moved. Second.
That requires a roll call vote. Jackie?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Gail?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Andrew?
Yes.
And I vote yes. We are in executive session. Thank you. Okay, so we are back in session. And the next item is to discuss change order number 1 for F.J. Roberts. Do you want to explain that, either Mark or Arno, to the group, what we're doing here?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Good evening. Thank you for the introduction regarding change order 1 for F.J. Roberts on the gym flooring replacement surfacing. So we had an original contract amount of $448,977. We have change order 1 is a credit for $94,950, leaving a new contract sum of $354,027. There are 7 items within the page 2 of the change order. Credits for unit crack prices, crack repair, concrete, floor leveling, costs incurred, additional costs incurred by the city related to hazardous material abatement, custodial overtime, HVAC filters, and credit for reconciliation of flooring removals. The architect prepared change order number 1 on the AIA form, and the contractor has signed it, as well as the architect, and we seek formal approval, discussion and approval by the Municipal Building Commission for this change order adjustment.
Thank you. One other thing is we've extended the contract time by 259 days to May 5th, 2023.
That's correct. As we know, they're going to be coming back starting on the April vacation, and will be complete by May 5th.
And we have talked to them to arrange with the schools, because I think that's a half day before on that Friday. So if they want to get in there on Friday afternoon and start staging things up so they can start on Saturday, there'll be some additional custodial time, which we'll take care of, in a requisition. But we told them that we'd do everything we could to make sure that they got, that the school did not have no use of it for maybe 2 weeks after the vacation. Maybe they could reduce that if they were able to get a good early start. And so we'll make sure there's some cooperation there. So Any questions from the commission on that change order? Hearing none, a motion is in order.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item of business is that we now have requisition number 2. And Arno, you have endorsed this requisition?
I have, yes. It
And-
also factors in the change order that was just approved.
Yes, and so if we understand this correctly, it shows the deduct change order of $94,950. It shows a payment due of $96,349.95, leaving a balance to complete of $123,673.85, which I believe in your judgment and Mark's judgment is enough to incentivize the contractor to come back at April school vacation and replace the floor at Hyman Fine, correct?
That is correct, yes.
And Mark, yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Good. So, a motion would be in order to approve.
Move to approve. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right. Anything else you need to tell us about this project, guys?
There was a request to provide some additional floor line painting by the schools. And we had sent a request for proposal to FJ Roberts to provide that work. We received a proposal amount of roughly $9,225. Mark and I reviewed it. We weren't in agreement with that total. So they did provide a counter offer of roughly $7,440. That would be based on providing it was one additional or one type of color, but I believe that all the additional floor paint color is the same, would be the same. I'm sorry, the amount was $7,360. It's generally in line with their schedule of values, and we believe it's reasonably fair and within fair and reasonable amount to where I would feel comfortable approving that amount for that work. The work involves putting in some volleyball lines and also some lane blocks that were originally not on the floor, but have been requested to be applied to both Hyman Fines and to Bill Roberts.
Yeah, so that means that in the lane formed by the foul line, there are blocks where the players line up, and those blocks were left off the plan, so we need those painted. I also know the gym teachers wanted some volleyball lines and some other lines to be painted that would facilitate them using the gym for things other than basketball or volleyball. And we thought we have the money to do it, so we might as well do it right. So that will show up on a future change order then, Arno?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions on that?
Were these different lines than originally? There was a question I thought back, ways back, for additional lines to be, or maybe it was a design. I think around 20,000 back at the beginning of the project. Are these different or similar or applied differently?
No, this is different. There was a request. I don't know who requested it, but they wanted the outer perimeter of the courts to be fully painted, as opposed to just leaving it as plain flooring. But this is different. This is volleyball lines, other sporting event lines, as well as lane blocks that were never there.
Yeah, so Andrew,
So,
this
in essence, the original request was more aesthetic. This is performance related to the use of the gym by the end users and the athletic folks.
Okay, so that original one was more of an aesthetic that we declined,
Oh, yes, you're right.
and this one is more of a use than an
This is the
aesthetic.
phys ed teacher saying, we got to live in this building, we need these things to run our gym classes.
Okay. And are these painted on, or are they embedded in the floor? Like, is there any
These-
potential that they come off?
No, these are painted just like the rest of the floor painting is now. In time, they will wear, but they say it should last at least 10 years.
All the lines in the center logo are painted with a urethane paint, and it's a rather robust product.
Okay. So it's same as the rest of the floor, it's just additional lines.
Additional lines to facilitate gym classes.
Okay.
Any other questions? Anything else you need to add?
That's all I have.
Okay, all you have, Mark?
Yes, sir. What we'd like to do is to advise the contractor whether or not it's the wish of the MVC to have these additional lines painted. So we would eagerly await your vote, but we don't have anything else to add with regard to the change order request for $7,360.
Yeah, I think we have an obligation to deliver a floor that the school department can use. So I certainly recommend that we approve that.
So, move to approve?
Yeah.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay. Well, we look forward to reporting at the end of April on the contractor's success, and in the meantime, we'll update you as necessary. Thank you.
Okay, our next regularly scheduled meeting will be April 5th. However, there may be a special meeting before then, but that's related to another project that I'll talk to you about in a minute. So, thank you, guys.
Thank you all.
Have a great night. Good night.
Good night.
Night.
All right, the Willett Roof is next. As you probably remember, we hired Skanska last week as our OPM.
Yes.
Seems like it was more than a week ago, was it 2? Whatever it was. So Anjanette Kelso has already started drafting the designer selection RFP. She had some questions on some things. I also met today with Molly, with Carol Brown, the purchasing agent, and with Laura Gignac, the treasurer, and said to them, guys, we need $2 million to make this project happen. Where's it coming from? And so Laura said, I had an email I printed out from Anjanette, which gave the breakdown of all the funds that were needed, because we had money to hire them, but we didn't have any money to hire the architect. We didn't have any money for the actual construction. We didn't have a contingency. We had nothing. So she took that email with her and she said, I'll work on it and I'll get back to you. Excuse me. Then late today, excuse me again, one of the questions came up, which is that I think the school department is looking at putting air conditioning in that building as well. And so the question came up of, will the roof project need to take that into account? Will there be rooftop units? Because it is a sloped roof, I suspect not.
Probably not, no.
Probably not, but I asked Anjanette to be in touch with Mark Furtado and to figure this out, because we don't want to spend some money and then find out that we have to change it. So we are now looking at potentially having a meeting at the end of March to shortlist the designers, and maybe another meeting either at the end of March or early in April in order to interview designers. Because, as you remember from last week, we need to have something on the street in May so that the work can start in June. Summer Slammer. So that's where we are on that, and we'll let you know when we need you. And that will be dependent probably on getting some money. And where that money is going to come from, I don't know if that's eligible for ARPA, if it has to be a bond issue, if, you know, if it's free cash, wherever it's coming from, that's not our job. It's our job to spend it, not to make it. So any questions on that?
No.
Nope.
All right, moving on to the Council on Aging feasibility study. I met, I think it was last Tuesday, with the city solicitor, and I briefed him on the issue relating to Highland. And he said, give me a couple of weeks to figure this out, and we'll write an opinion and let you know whether Highland can be used, and if so, under what conditions. So the world is waiting on Peter Mello, the city solicitor, to tell us whether that is a site that we can tell our architect to concentrate on. In the meantime, we will have a new mayor on the 11th of March, and I assume that one of her first priorities, beyond hiring Jeremy's replacement and Owen's replacement, will be to get a Council on Aging director in as well. So she's going to be busy. So that's where we are on that. The building inventory study. Where are we on that RFP, Molly?
As far as I know, there hasn't been any movement on that one. Since Jeremy left, it's been on the back burner, unfortunately, for Carol Brown and I to be working on that one. So I have no update for that one at this time.
So could you gently inquire of Carol as to how you and I may be of assistance to her in getting that out on the street?
Absolutely.
You worded so nicely.
Because we really need to have that report ready for January, and I don't want to think about next winter already, but it will soon be upon us. Then for the Attleboro-Pawtucket Interconnect, my understanding is that the council agreed to use ARPA funds to fund that. And so now, the question for Molly is, do we call Courtney? Do we call CDM Smith? How do we move this project forward now that we know we have a source of funds to put this out to bid?
Well, I know that I'm meeting with Courtney tomorrow with Deb and Carol Brown and the mayor about this. So I don't have an answer for that right now. I know that with Jeremy leaving, that eliminated a designated ARPA person to update the website for Bristol County, at least ARPA. I know that they're working on giving me access to that and giving me the rundown on how to accomplish that. But again, I'll know more at the meeting tomorrow.
Okay. And certainly if you need me, I'll be around. You can give me a call. I can shoot down here if need be.
Thank you so much.
Because I think what we need to be able to do is to say to CDM Smith, put the package on the street. And because I know that there are limits on the ARPA money, that you have to spend it within a certain period of time. That's why this project was chosen, because it's ready to go, it's designed, and the time frame works to spend the money. Because I guess with, and I'm just telling you what I've heard, but with ARPA, if you don't actually spend all the money by the end date, then it becomes ineligible retroactively for everything you spent, which would not be a good idea.
No.
Since we're talking about $2 million. So,
Another
yes. Well, that's on top of the 1.8 we already had, because if you remember, that's a $3.8 million project. And then what I've also been told is that, you know, this won't impact the PFAS project, because the PFAS project now, because it wouldn't have been finished within the time frame, needs to now be the one that gets bonded instead of this one. But so when that happens with the water department, I'm not privy to, but I'm sure that that's an important issue that everybody wants to get done. So at some point, when we have a new capital projects administrator. Maybe we'll be able to get some more information on moving that one along. The other thing I did today was that I prepared a memo to the mayor-elect outlining the 8 or 9 things that we are working on, including things like the police station roof, which we need to talk slightly about, and you know, the feasibility study for the public safety building, the feasibility study for the Council on Aging, the Willett roof, the building envelope repairs to this building, the gym floors. So there's a lot of things on our plate, and I wanted to give her the opportunity, after she's had a chance to see the memo, to inquire and, you know, get up to speed. I'm sure she's going to have 1,000 things that she's going to need to learn in a very short period of time, but I figured that because some of these are time sensitive, the Willett roof is certainly time sensitive. I think the police station roof is going to become pretty time sensitive pretty quickly. So, Molly, we are looking at engaging Mark Zawatsky to be the clerk of the works for that, correct?
Yes. I'm not sure. Carol Brown was working extensively on that exact thing today. I'm not sure how far she got with it. I was not able to touch base with her by the end of the day.
Right. So the council gave us $240,000, but that $240,000 is the expected cost of the construction. It does not include the clerk or the designer. And so once we can engage the clerk, then we can go do an RFP for a designer. Another special meeting, of course. But, you know, that's what we do.
We love meetings.
We choose people to fix roofs. So that's basically what's going on. As I said, next meeting will be April 5th, but I suspect there will be one. Could be one on the 22nd of March, probably for sure the 29th, depending on what happens with the Willett RFP. So mark and pencil that you might be needed either or both of those nights. And you certainly will be needed April 5th. So, anybody have anything else they want to bring up? You've done enough damage for one evening. Glad you were at your first meeting, Molly.
Thank you for having me.
And you'll be able to make the minutes based on your copious notes. So therefore, a motion is in order to adjourn at 6:00. Oh, we didn't pay the bills. Thank you.
Good catch.
We're not going to adjourn. We've got 2 bills to pay. One is for port construction for $1,425, and the other is the F.J. Roberts bill that we just actually, I think, voted on. Well, I think we already voted on that one, didn't we?
Yep.
Yeah, so it's just the port construction bill. So is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously. So now, a motion is in order to adjourn at 6:03.
Move to adjourn. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned at 6:04.